and welcome to Growing Older and Wiser. I'm Krista Gibson. I want to ask you a question about yourself. Have you been aware, as you've put years behind you, of your body changing? Yeah, I think so, huh? Our bodies change. Our bodies have been changing ever since we were conceived in the womb, right? You know, we grew and grew and grew, and then we were born, and then we started going through all the changes of, childhood and puberty and adolescence and, young adulthood and so on. And then came a point where our bodies kept changing, but not necessarily in a growth-oriented way, and not necessarily in a way that we would want to necessarily celebrate. As we grow older, some things are more difficult to do than when we were younger. Our bodies don't always 100% function the same way that they did when we were younger. We may have physical issues. I want to say a few things about it because I think it's so important to the aging process and to doing it with wisdom. And that is, many of the things that we experience as we grow older are also experienced by young people. And we forget that. We tend to just think, well, because I'm having difficulty walking, or my back hurts, or I'm losing my hearing, or my eyes are getting worse, that, oh my goodness, this is just because we're growing older. No, yes, that's a part of it, but those things happen when you're young. It's not just older people who go get glasses. It's not just older people with hearing aids. It's not just older people who use canes or other walking assists. These things can happen at any age. It's also not just older people who tend to forget things. Happens when you're a teenager or in your 40s or your 50s. My point is this. Our bodies change. We don't like all the changes. Yes, as we get older, there seem to be more and more of them that happen faster and maybe more with greater strength. I can't quite come to the right word that I want with that than it would be if we were younger. But my point is it's natural that the changes that are happening, we tend to want to push them away. We tend to want to judge ourselves. We tend to want to say, oh gosh, ain't it awful? I have all these horrible things happening to me. Oh, woe is me. My life is over. This is just terrible. My message is, yes, these things are happening, and I get to choose how to deal with them. I can either say, okay, these are horrible things, and gee, isn't it awful that it's happening, and I'm just going to go ahead and, slither off under the couch somewhere and wait for somebody to find me and, burn me up and put me in the ground or something. As opposed to being able to say, oh, okay, my body's changing. Guess what? I've been through many changes with my body. My body has been changing since I was born. I'm used to this. I know how to deal with it, which is embrace the changes. Whatever they are, embrace them. You got to wear glasses? You know what? Get 2 pair like I've got now. Get one that's a little funky. Get the other one that's shaped like an octagon. Do something fun with it. For me, I have to use a cane. Well, people love to see my canes because I have found a company that makes beautiful canes, fun canes. So I'm not just walking around with something that's boring. So I figure I got to use a cane, get one that I enjoy and it's fun. Whatever it is that's going on in your life. And yes, I do understand that for some of the changes, there's pain involved, there's discomfort involved, there could be surgeries, there could be some just really negative kinds of consequences that, Krista, these aren't fun, and I get that. But it's all in how we present it to ourselves and to others, isn't it? And it's all in how we decide to interpret it. We can decide to interpret this as just another part of my life. I'm moving forward. And yes, in this particular instance, it means I'm having to experience some things that I'm not real tickled about. I'm not real happy about. But, it's what's on my plate. Why don't I deal with it in a positive way? Why don't I deal with it in a way that's going to help me feel better and not just make me feel worse? And yes, I know society, I talked about it last week, society doesn't always help us feel so good. Society is still very ageist and is not as supportive towards older adults as it could be. However, there's also lots of people who are supportive of us. There's organizations, there's physicians, there's whoever who will support us. So whatever you're going through as you're aging, if you feel you need support, find it, because it is out there. And you can go back, and I hope if you haven't watched them, you will go back to my early recordings in this series, because I touched on an awful lot of the physicality of aging, a lot of the nuts and bolts of aging that can be very, very helpful to you. So if you haven't watched some of those or listened to them, try to work them into your life, because I think they're going to help you out a lot. So my message is, yes, your body is changing. Make the best of it. Find fun in it. Find joy in it. And, it's like I said early on, we have two options. One, we grow older, and the other, we die. So you get to pick. And if you've chosen to be here, that means you'll grow older. Find a way to enjoy the process, and be glad that you're still here. It's something that you chose. You chose that over moving on. All right. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.